Valais Valley, Valais, and I had just was visiting a friend in Lax, and before that I was visiting another friend in Arvigo, Arvigo, and I did a few videos there on witch execution sites, and I came here specifically on my way home to stop here at this village where there were also witches executed, women who were claimed to be witches executed. So I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see what I see. And this was the execution site. So if you look straight up the hill, I'm not going to walk up there because I don't have time today, but you can see three cement type pillars. They were reconstructed, so these are not the original. I understand that they were reconstructed to represent the region of the execution site. That's my understanding. There are benches up there, and this is actually a bike path that I walk down with electric lines here, you can see, for cows, and so you don't so the cows don't come out and walk in the path. But it's a beautiful Alpine village, beautiful, with a church right there. You can see the steeple. Almost every village has a church with a steeple that's typically the tallest in the village. But let's go back to this execution site. So in the year 1447, this village, Ernen, received the right to high justice, meaning that the court could impose death sentences. And there were three women here, Trina and Nesa, actually, those were the two that were documented. But in the year 1466, it also was documented that there were 10 people burned here at the stake, and that included men and women. I don't know the official court records. I'm pulling a lot of this off of documentation that I had done some research for. And it's a surviving piece of the judicial landscape. So in the last video, I shared with you the rot house where the torturing was taking place underneath, and the dungeon and the cell. And what really happened in this valley, the systemic Europe witchcraft hunts in this valley, the Valais Valley, began in the year 1428. And then these women were executed at that site in 1466. And it was really the first large-scale execution in this area starting in the year 1428. And like I said, this valley in particular, this region, Ernen, this little village, got the right to do executions and death penalties in the year 1447. So what? So 1466, almost 47, 57, 19 years later was when they were executing, and maybe even before. But I read that a lot of the court records actually got erased. People didn't want to remember. I'll stand so you can see this behind me. I don't know if you can see it, but people didn't want that their mother, their sister, their brother were documented in history as being killed for witchcraft or executed for witchcraft. And similar, I would say, to records being erased or sealed today. You know, my ex-husband, when he took my children on vacation, and the courts gave him the right to take my children on vacation when this was in 1995, so they were 9 and 11, and then he got arrested in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, for being at a bar and not at 1 o'clock in the morning, and my children were nearly taken by somebody who said they were going to go help him find their father. A guardian angel saw this happening and told a police officer, and the police officer went and took my children and said, "Where's your dad?" Bottom line is, he wouldn't take them home to where he was staying. He said, "My kids can take care of themselves," and he ended up getting arrested. And then his friend ended up taking him back up to Gatlinburg to seal the records. So when we hear about 50 to 60,000 women who were executed as witches here in Europe, it could be much higher because they sealed the records, or they erased them or burned them. So that's why I'm doing this, is because my travels through Europe, even when I did when I was 19 and I did a 7-week trip throughout Europe with a college group and a friend named Cindy, never did we learn about anything to do with witches or persecutions. There's nothing, I didn't see any signs that said, yeah, this city's known for executing women blamed for being witches. I'm going to start walking back. I'll give you one more view, and then I'm also going to end this because I'm low on battery and I've got to do a recording tonight of the Orgasm Hour Live. So yeah, what is happening? What happened in the 14, 15, 16, 1700s? There's a museum here for one woman. I'm going to walk past a woman who's actually meditating. And this is the second time I've actually, yesterday when I was in Rodeo, there was a woman who was parked right next to me when I went to look at that execution site. And here there's a woman meditating in front of these, where I'm standing on this walk. So I want to close this off before I end up walking past her. And thank you for watching, and stay tuned for